Hey everyone, how's it going? Elliot here again. In today's video, we're going to be doing something slightly different. This isn't the regular Let's Refurb series that I usually do. I'm just going to try this. Let me know what you think. I put up a post a couple of weeks ago asking if you wanted to see a raw, uncut video of me repairing a Game Boy. So I went out and bought a Game Boy. I had about, I think I had like 2,000 yeses and maybe like 200 no's. So obviously you guys are up to see a little bit of change, which is really, really cool. I am going to cut certain parts, like after I film this intro, I'll just cut to the table, and when I go to clean it, I'll just cut to the sink. I'm not going to like wander around and show you guys me sorting out my camera. But without any further ado, let's give it a go. Vikings War of Clans was inspired by the famous strategy and RPG games of the 90s. What makes Vikings World so addictive is that more than 40 million online players are constantly changing and the way the game evolves by never-ending fighting over resources, forging new alliances, and competing in live events. Also, they have live events where you can actually win things like drones. So they have a DJI Spark and a Phantom up here at the moment, which is worth a fair amount. Really, really impressive. You guys should definitely check out this game in the link below. So just to remind myself, on the listing I paid £14.98 for this. I believe there was also £5 shipping or something like that, so not too bad. It's kind of the standard price. It was a bid, there was 14 people bidding on it, and in the item description it just has the generic Japanese stuff. Colour, it's the grey one, of course. What else would I be doing? It doesn't work. Please think it as junk. It's the Japanese version, and the rest of it's about shipping. So not too helpful, but at the same time not too bad. Let's go ahead and unwrap it. It looks like there's a couple of stickers on there, which is always funky. Hopefully we'll be able to take those off and it won't have stained. Sometimes what happens is, as these things get destroyed over time, like yellowed in the sun or whatever, and the stickers are on top, underneath the stickers have like a white patch, but this thing seems to be in really nice colour condition, not necessarily condition. I can see quite a few scratches, but it should be okay. So the screen has some really big gouges in it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but that's not too bad. There's a little sticker there. We'll try and get that off. Doesn't look like, oh, actually, yeah, it does look like there's a bit of discoloration underneath. You might not be able to see that just yet, but I will get an angle of that. You can see here there's another one on the back as well. So I think the best thing to do is to get some AAAs, chuck it in, and see what the problem seems to be. Alright, so there's our AAAs. Give them a little jiggle, and okay, we're not getting any power. That's kind of good, because it means we'll have a fun video. It's definitely not the batteries. It could be just we plug in some AC power, but at the same time I kind of want to just get this working off batteries. So what we'll do is we'll strip it down a little bit further. I'm going to just go ahead and remove this sticker. It was hardly on there at all. This battery, the sticker on the back here is actually absolutely immaculate, as is this. So that's good. I'll probably end up hair drying those off, so that when we give this a scrub, it won't get damaged. But you can see, oh no, this is really leaving some discoloration here. Let me try and get you a shot of that actually. There you go, you can kind of see that there. If I turn down the ISO slightly, you can see that discoloration there. So not ideal, but I could retro bright this if it was that bad later on. The screwdriver that I'm going to be using to take it apart is this right here. This was sent to me by Banggood. This has quite a lot of screw bits in here. The company who sent this to me haven't paid me to say anything about this. So a lot of it's in Japanese, which isn't exactly the easiest. It looks like it has a little warranty card here as well, which is interesting. This whole sleeve here is metal, which I'm totally digging. It kind of feels like the Apple Mac, iMac or whatever, which is quite cool. Although it doesn't seem to like, oh my god, look at that. It pops down. That's so dope. Okay, right, let's have a look on the inside then. So there's our metal sleeve, and here is the screwdriver set. Wowza. That is just a solid piece of aluminium. Oh god, no, I usually don't fail that. Okay, that's really cool. Right, tri-wing, that's what we need. Oh, nose. The tri-wing bit looks ginormous. Okay, we might actually have to replace that bit out there, which isn't going to be very good for you guys because, yeah, we're going to need to replace that. Damn it! Luckily, you can buy the replacement bits quite cheap, and there we go. It looks exactly the same. And it's held in with magnets as well, which is really, really cool. So you're not going to be losing them anytime soon. But if you guys are going to want to buy one, obviously take that into consideration. It doesn't come with the smaller tri-wing bit. It comes with one for slightly bigger consoles. Anyway, let's go ahead and undo this. It's going to be slightly weird, not cutting this all up and stuff. I'm still going to get good angles. So if I'm trying to talk about something specifically, then you'll be able to skip to that or whatnot. Also, I've gotten pretty good at taking these things apart now, so you shouldn't be able to waiting around for too long. Okay. And on the inside, it doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's quite clean, which is nice. There doesn't seem to be any corrosion that I can see at all. In fact, the battery contacts, that's something we should have talked about, look great, as do they on the shell as well. So that's always a positive. The top looks fine as well. I really can't see any sort of damage on the shell. Kind of worryingly, these screws were really, really loose. Which somewhat indicates to me that maybe someone's been in here before, but I highly doubt that because it was in not terrific condition. What we need to do now is find some Phillips heads. There we go. Swap them out. I'm totally digging this aluminium tube of screwdriver handle. It's just so minimalist and high quality. I really, really like it. It's just a shame that the tri-wing bit doesn't come the right size, but you can get those replacements, as I said. In fact, some of your kits will probably already have them. I'll leave the link to it anyway if you want to check it out. So we take off our cam lock, bail lock rather, and flip it over, and there doesn't seem to be any damage at all. So this is really interesting. I'm liking where this is going. It doesn't seem to be that there is a lot of problems with this thing, but obviously it doesn't turn on, which is a bit of an issue. The D-pad doesn't actually seem to have had a lot of use on it. You can see from the bottom there that there's not a lot of shine going on, which is always an indicator of how well this thing's been looked after and how much it's been used. So all pretty good so far. None of the rubber bits are damaged, and this is still a really, really nice colour as well. So that will clean up superbly. And then we have our small little maroon coloured DMG style buttons. And then we just need to pop the screen out, which I'm sure I don't need to be telling you how to do this now. I'm sure most of you will know at this point, but just always be careful. Never treat these things in a rough way. Be considerate. And the screen looks like there's no sort of damage. Oh, autofocus. So that's nice. We'll just chuck that to one side, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Pretty happy with how it looks. I'll need to put it in a sink because it's a little bit dirty, but it's definitely not like grotty. Doesn't seem to have any dirt on it at all, which is really, really nice actually. These things are usually really dirty. Okay, so I think the next thing to do is grab, I'm actually going to grab an AC adapter then and see if that is the problem. Sometimes over time the pads here connecting the battery terminals can sometimes just not make a very good connection. So if we pop that in there and turn the light on and nothing's happening. Okay, that's not fantastic. So I think what I'm going to do is take some isopropyl alcohol, just drop it in the top there and see if that helps. You guys know by now what isopropyl alcohol is. This is a 99.9%, so it's 99.5%, so it's pretty much as strong as it gets. One whiff of this and you'll be paralytic. Let's just go ahead, take a Q-tip, cotton bud, wherever you are in the world, drop it in. Make sure that there's a nice little drop on the end of it, and just drop that in there. That was out of focus. This is the problem with doing something in one take. Try and get that again. I just dropped it on the board. That's not great. Get that clean. Okay, that's probably enough. And then you just give it a wiggle. I'll be interested to see if this actually requires a bit more work. That will kind of be fun if that is the case. I'm actually quite excited. Okay, Let me grab the AC adapter again, plug that into the bottom, and turn it on. Oh, okay, still nothing. No, damn it, there's a light. Ah, that's annoying. So it was just the power switch. One day, guys, I promise you, we'll get one which has some more problems on it, and then we'll be able to do a nice long problem find. I'll try and get one which specifically listed as like 100% no power. Oh no, and it's got a horizontal line. Well, this just turned into an absolute disaster. The contrast wheel's a little bit flickery. I'll actually show you how to fix that. Obviously, when I do my little cutscenes on my Let's Refurb, you don't get to see me specifically going into detail of what it is that I'm doing in some instances. But same with the power switch. If you get your Q-tip, drop some isopropyl alcohol on it, and just drop it on the inside of the switch, the potentiometer rather. Just get a little drop on the end. Make sure the Q-tip is soaked, and then just push it up against there, and then you'll see some of the liquid coming out onto the contrast wheel, and then just give it a little turn. And if you don't think you've got enough, you can never really have too much. Obviously, you don't need to like drown it, but the qualities of isopropyl is that it dries up really, really quickly, but at the same time it thoroughly cleans and also removes, like eats away at the acid and stuff. So it's kind of just a very good tool to have. And whilst we're here as well, we'll do the same to the volume wheel. I'm a little bit gutted that it turned out to just be that, but we're still going to give this thing a good clean. So you can go ahead and turn it off now if you would like. What am I even saying? Okay, and that's pretty much that. I'm going to take off the. We'll have a quick look actually if that worked, if that is a sufficient amount. Oh, I didn't turn it off. That's all good. There we go. And now we just have much smoother movements of changing the contrast. So it's basically like having a brand new contrast wheel put in. Sometimes the horizontal lines actually return over time if you give it a little bit of the old full black contrast, but it could just be that the ribbon here has lost its connection onto the screen, in which case there's not a lot we can do. But I'm not too bothered. I've got plenty of replacement screens and whatnot, and not really going to hinder this too much. And for £15, we can't really be complaining. Although one day we'll have a drop-in replacement backlit screen, I'm telling you. Okay, next thing to do then is just to give the contacts a little clean. You can use your Q-tip. You don't need to be getting more isopropyl alcohol out for that. These don't require a lot, and also these specific ones aren't very dirty, so that's kind of a good sign that this thing hasn't been used a lot. Barely anything's coming off on the Q-tip there, which is great. And the speaker as well, usually these things are really grimy, but this one doesn't seem to be at all. It's just definitely a well looked after console. It's a shame that they didn't keep the battery cover with it. However, I have replacement battery covers for these when I ordered a load of those aftermarket shells, which turned out to be a load of crap. So I should be able to sort that problem out. That's pretty much it. It just doesn't really need a lot of cleaning. Obviously, around about here is where the bottom of the battery cover is. So sometimes you get a little bit of dirt and grime in there, but these things seem to be, this one specifically seems to be really, really well kept. So the whole Q-tip is only coming off with that much grime, which is really not that bad. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take this over to the sink and give all the housings and buttons a clean. So there's quite a loud whirring sound in here from the fan, so I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out, to be honest with you. If it turns out to be kind of all inaudible, then I'm not going to bother. By the way, all I put in here is just some regular bathing soap. There's nothing in here which is specific for cleaning Game Boys. I'm not going to take off these back stickers with a hairdryer. I think it'll just be a little bit of a faff. But what I'm going to do is just not get that bit particularly wet. I'll just get it a little bit wet just to give everything a wash on the back, but then I'm just going to give it a quick pat down in that area, and then the rest of the unit will actually just scrub down with just a regular toothbrush. There's nothing here specifically that I'm using so far other than the isopropyl alcohol and the tri-ring screwdriver, which is unobtainable. This one's not that dirty, which means I don't have to waffle on showing you this for too long, but as it's raw somewhat, I will show you all of the process. So I just give everything a clean. The most of the work is just from the toothbrush, just kind of getting it off, and the water just kind of helps break it down and kind of bundle it all together. But we're not going to need to do too much to this because it's, as I said, already in good condition, and then we're going to give this a clean later on with some Mr. Sheen and stuff as well. So yeah, we're kind of okay here. You can get the rest of that sticker residue off as well. That's something we can do here. The other thing I like to do as well is just give these a little scrub. Obviously they accrue quite a lot of dust and dirt, but they're not going to need a lot because these aren't too bad either, which is nice. It means we don't have to replace them with anything else. The D-pad sometimes needs a little scrub as well, but it's never too bad. I've seen some pretty bad cases, but most of the time just scrubbing on the side of the D-pad will be a sufficient amount. That's why toothbrushes are really helpful, because they can get into the areas that your fingers can't necessarily get into. So that's pretty much it. You don't really need to do too much in the sink because a lot of the work we're going to do later on, polishing it up, it's just especially if the Game Boy is really dirty, it makes a big difference. But this one isn't too bad, so I'm kind of okay with leaving this here. And I'll take us back into the studio. The rest of the work is going to consist of nothing more than just a microfiber cloth and a bit of Mr. Sheen. You'll probably need 2 microfiber cloths, a dry one and a damp one. But it shouldn't really matter, whichever one you decide to use, just keep a part of it dry. So I'm going to take this stuff and just pop that over there, and we'll take the microfiber cloth. Just trying to keep the screws somewhat segregated. Okay, so we take our microfiber cloth, place it comme ça, and then take a little bit of Mr. Sheen, and all this is just a multi-surface polish. This is literally just a plastic, wood, glass and metal polish, and also gives it a nice shine and cleans it, and it smells nice as well. So if these things tend to have like quite an old smell, so these things tend to have quite an old smell, so it's quite nice to get rid of that, because it's not exactly pleasant smelling someone's old attic and finger dust, whatever it is that goes into these things. Okay, so as I said, this one is actually quite a good example of a second-hand dirty console. I'm sure you guys have seen an old classic of mine, like the Ghost Game Boy or other ones, where the thing was so dirty that it was really bad. In fact, speaking of the Ghost Game Boy, that was a really old video that I made. Someone recently claimed the audio of it, so I've actually taken that video down because I was on holiday, so I couldn't deal with that whilst I was away. But it's really funny. I don't even know, I can't remember what audio I used, but all my music comes from SoundCloud, where the artists say that, well, the majority of my music comes from SoundCloud, but so a little bit confusing, but I'll sort that out. So what are you guys thinking of this style so far? I know a lot of you are going to prefer the Let's Refurb, where I chop up the video and crack on with it in that way, but this one, I just thought I'd give it a little try. But it's probably not going to stick around for too much. If you do enjoy it though, I've actually got a faulty new 3DS, which is going to need a lot more than just a clean. I know for certain that the 3D slider doesn't work, the battery, it doesn't charge. So I think that one will be a lot more interesting. I know you guys said, well, we want to watch this, but we want to see some sort of problem finding as opposed to just an unedited 30-minute video of you cleaning a Game Boy, which is kind of what this has turned out to be. So that one will definitely be good. I've also got a lot of 2DSs coming down. I was sent and one of the main reasons why I took this little deal with Banggood, where they just send me some products and I'll give them a shout out, is because I wanted to buy a replacement 2DS screen, but they're a lot of money. they're like £30, and that's the price of like a 2DS anyway, a working one. But they had one on their website, so they gave me that as well. I've actually got that now, so I'm just waiting for the 2DSs. But that means that I can do that video without any hassle, and I don't have to spend loads of money on the replacement screen because I've already got one. So that's kind of the main reason why I did that. Took that deal with them. But yeah, this thing is actually turning out to be quite nice. That stain has kind of gone, really. I think it was just dirty as opposed to discoloured, because this thing's actually looking great. And it's an LED one as well, which I kind of forgot to mention at the start. The screen isn't actually too bad as well either. That was just really, really dirty. So I'm super happy with how this is turning out. What we'll do now is we'll take our lovely dry cloth. You can never buy enough microfiber cloths, and honestly they're so inexpensive, but they're so good for Game Boys. I wouldn't recommend using the cheaper ones on some screens because some of them are quite scratchy, but this one seems to be absolutely great. Okay, and we'll give these a little dry as well. Obviously you want to keep water away from electronics at all costs, but most of this stuff is dried already. This is kind of weird that I'm talking during this. Usually I just crack on and set up the camera a billion times to get all the angles. But we seem to be doing okay. Alright, let's go ahead and put this back together. So obviously we've got the problem with the horizontal lines on the screen, but kind of don't really mind that too much. I'm not too worried about that kind of stuff. And also this isn't, I didn't spend a lot of money on this. And they said it was faulty, so I kind of knew that potentially it might have a problem like that. Okay, and then we'll pop in the screen, just give that a little clean. Just give it a blow as well, just to get the dust away. Pop that down, and you can check the screen, so make sure there's no dust in there. And it looks pretty good. Okay, next thing is the board. Pop that in. And we'll need to check this thing works with batteries as well, because we've only tried it with the AC adapter, but hopefully it will. And I'll just take a regular Phillips screwdriver from this incredible set, which I just love. I just love this little aluminium, whatever this is, screwdriver handle. It's just so simple, yet feels so amazing and looks incredible. I think it just makes me look a lot more professional. And then also this little thing at the top is just so useful for screwing things down quickly. Bloody insane. I probably would have bought this anyway had they not offered to send it to me. So I'm very fortunate, guys. I do appreciate the position that I'm in. But let's not get too dark and deep here. We'll save that for a meet up where we get drunk, which might happen one day. Okay, there we go. And then the other thing we need to do, I didn't do this on camera before, I undid this little piece here, which covers up the Game Boys, the Game Boy slot. Let's just go ahead and give it a little clean. That's another thing about Mr. Sheen as well, because it's a polish, it will do a number on this. I would suggest, if this is really, really bad, either replace it or you can use a bit of Brasso, which is just like an actual metal polish, and that's a bit more abrasive than Mr. Sheen, so we'll actually get rid of like pitting and other bits of rust and corrosion. Okay, pop that back in there, and 4 little Phillips screws. By now you should understand how easy it is to take apart a Game Boy. I remember when I first got my Game Boy, when I first ever got a Game Boy, I was just like, there's no way I'm ever going to go inside this thing. And now we can take it apart in 5 or 6 minutes. So it's been a good journey, and I'm sure you guys have learnt as I've learnt as well, but I'm no expert on this thing. I never claimed to be. I just like making videos. Okay, we'll pop that on the back. It's looking pretty goddamn good, guys. I'm happy with this. And what's the next step? Oh, no, we need to put the power switch in. That could have been a waste of time. Okay. And put that down, and we get our tri-wing bit out. and pop in the 6 tri-wing screws. And we're more or less finished. Just got to put the battery terminal in as well. I think it's a little bit different. I've done so many of these bloody DMG style Game Boy Pockets that, you know, the Let's Refurbs can only have so many angles and whatnot. Not that I'm complaining, because I love making them. That's why I've kind of migrated onto DS's. And then I was thinking, and let me know what your thoughts are, of migrating onto home consoles as well. So doing, you know, computers and other home consoles, the N64, GameCube. I've done a couple of them already, but I want to do like some actual repairs, replacing caps and resistors and possibly even some surface mount components. That would be really, really cool. Okay, finally, we're just going to put the little battery terminal back in. Always need to remember just to re-bend that little bit of metal which sticks out, the little latch. I try and show that on my videos, but sometimes it's quite hard to do without talking about it. Pop that in, we can give it a little wipe, but it looked absolutely fine. And there we go. Okay, and I'll just get 2 batteries, and I'll go and get the battery cover and the game as well. Give it a little test. Seamless. It works absolutely great, and also I just heard the volume there as well. Okay, let me go and get the battery cover and a game, and we'll test it out. Alright, pop the game in. Here's the battery cover. It's probably not going to be perfect. You can see it's a little bit off there, but I really don't mind. It does the job, and from a quick glance, it looks like it's got a battery cover. But I might as well use those things somehow, otherwise they're never going to get used. So there we go. We'll just zoom the camera in slightly, bump up the contrast, and press start. So our start button works, which is always good. Speaker works, D-pad works, A and B buttons do the same thing. Did our start button work? Yeah, and select doesn't do anything. But there we go, guys, works great. Really, really happy with that. Obviously it didn't have a lot of problems, but this has still been fun. I've really enjoyed using that screwdriver set. Brilliant. Well, I won't make this video any longer than it already is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. It looks gorgeous. These things always look absolutely fantastic, so really, really happy with that. And yeah. Okay, won't waffle on for any longer. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you for putting up with that sponsor at the start of the video. This is how I continue to make these videos. It's my first one. I won't be doing a lot. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.